Manipulators hate boundaries because manipulators hate men and women that they cannot control. That's a manipulator's whole MO. Control, power. That's what manipulation is. Unethical, indirect way of gaining power over somebody else, typically at their expense. And a manipulator hates somebody that they cannot control. But you want to know what a manipulator loves, conversely? Is an empath. Somebody who's largely controlled by their emotions. And I know this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but if you're like the woman who asked the question after my last free webinar called How to Stop Being a Man's Internship, and she said, why is it that I always attract manipulators, narcissists, etc.? Then you want to listen to this. I told her, hey, it ain't that you attracting narcissists, it's that you're entertaining them, and you're likely entertaining them because once they realize that you're an empath, it's like light to a moth. They're going to stay on you. They're going to try harder. They're going to persevere in order to get into your space and in order to get into your good graces because you're an empath. And of course, I only discovered this after asking her some questions. But let me ask y'all the same thing, because you're an empath if you fit any of these. If you're the type of person that can feel a person's energy, even if they don't say anything, more than likely you're an empath. Put I down in the chat if you can feel somebody's energy. Yes, you may be spiritually inclined, but more than likely, you're an empath. Because emotions, first off, most communication is nonverbal. So a lot of times the emotions a person has is nonverbal. But if you're an empath, you're like you can speak every language, like you're more fluent in nonverbal communication. If something is off, you can sense it if you're an empath. If something's going on with somebody, you may not help them, but it's gonna play on your conscience all day if somebody's going through something. Any of y'all that's ever picked up the phone and called somebody and say, hey, I was just thinking of you, and it just so happened they were going through some stuff, you're more than likely an empath. Not a bad thing, but it's not a great thing either. Actually, it's living hell. I'm gonna keep it real with you. For those of you who are empaths, you already know. I'm not trying to dish you, I'm just keeping it real with you. Put I down in the chat if you identify as an empath based on that. When other people can heal and just get over stuff so quickly, it'll play in your mind over and over again how somebody can do you so dirty and you would never do that to them. You don't have that ice cold fallback game that everybody talk about that they got on Instagram and Facebook. You feel everything. Even if you don't speak on it, you feel deeply. You feel deeply sometimes before you even ready to feel deeply or against your will to feel deeply. You're probably an empath. So let me tell you 5 reasons why, actually 4 reasons, because we only need 4, why manipulators love empaths. The first reason why is because most times an empath is willing to self-sacrifice. You're willing to become a martyr for the well-being, for the chance that a relationship could work. Now that sounds good, and this is where I really want to break this down so y'all stop glorifying some of these ways. As an empath, you may be being irresponsible with your heart and not protecting you adequately. Because when you're a martyr for the relationship, that means you're willing to put yourself on the back burner. Somebody else is putting you on the back burner and you're being complicit. You're doing the exact same thing. You don't speak up for your needs. You don't stand on your boundaries. You have these things that you want, but you let somebody run all over you because you're thinking about what's best for them or what's comfortable for them. Not even what's best, what they enjoy the most. So you're willing to put yourself, you're willing to have this internal war and lack of peace inside just to keep the peace in the relationship. That's being self-sacrificial. You should never have to sacrifice self. Now, if you have to sacrifice some level of time or make some compromise, that's one thing. But when you have to sacrifice what makes you you, what protects you, what honors you, what respects you, now you're going overboard and you're letting them do the exact same thing. And manipulators love that. You make their job so much easier when you're willing to sacrifice your own self, because that's what they're trying to do anyway. They're trying to make sure that you don't take up space in a relationship. It should be all about them. Somehow, some way, everything should serve them. And whenever you're willing to self-sacrifice, they ain't even got to work that hard. I'm telling you, this ain't one of the messages that's going to tickle your ears. I'm keeping it real with you so you can be protected going forward. Another reason why manipulators love empaths is because your emotions typically will negate or override your common sense. Hear me out. How many times you've been in a situation, you look back at it and said, I knew better. I knew not to F with him. I knew not to listen to that BS he was telling me. Whether it's a lie that you believe, whether it's some sob story that you ended up looking past, some red flags or something like that, and you said, I knew better. I knew better. Who gonna keep it real, man? Put I down in the chat if that's ever been you. Definitely been me. How many of y'all can relate to that though? Your emotions, that's what overrode your common sense. You couldn't stick to it because you felt something and you went by what you felt as opposed to what you recognized. You went by what you felt. The only problem is what you felt came from a place of your empathy, not from your assessment of this person and their quality and their integrity and their character. It didn't come from that. It came from your empathy, because no matter how bad they're willing to do you or how bad they are for you, you still got love for them. And so you acting from that love for them and therefore not being as loving to yourself in the form of protection that you need to be. And manipulators love that. Love that. That you ain't always gonna use that comment. They can tell you anything. Long as you feel something, you're gonna go right on ahead and lead yourself to the slaughter. And these are all things that you can fix, by the way. I'm not telling you this to beat you down. I'm not telling you this to talk down on you. I'm telling you this to call you to a higher level, because you deserve to be protected. You deserve the same love that you try to give everybody else. Another reason why manipulators love empaths is because you guys don't detect manipulation because you don't speak manipulation. A lot of times it's not even on your radar. This kind of goes back to what I was just saying. You think everybody else got the same heart as you. And so you coming so straightforward. You coming forward with nothing but love. You coming forward with nothing but consideration. You think how this might affect this person before you even move or talk a certain way. And they don't do that. They don't do that. But because you're using you and your heart as the basis for how you see the world, instead of seeing the world for what it is, they know they can leverage that unwarranted benefit of the doubt as a way to manipulate you. So if you keep running into these people, these guys that are manipulating you, check that. Don't see the best in them. See all of them. You can appreciate the best in them, but see all of them before you move forward. Even the Bible says, guard your heart. There is nothing unkind about guarding yourself. In fact, the most unkind thing you can do is leave yourself open to these wolves, and then you have nothing to give to nobody, most importantly yourself. Who can you love if you let everybody take advantage of you? It's like letting everybody on the streets come into your house. It sounds good. Oh, give everybody a place to stay. But everybody, no matter if they clean, no matter if they robbers, no matter if they're going to kill or hurt other people in your house, everybody, how kind would you be? You're not kind if you do that, right? You're not smart at least, or at least you're not moving wisely. You're not moving according to your smarts. So the most wise thing that you can do is understand everybody got the same heart as you. Work on yourself. Be the best version of yourself. But look at people for who they are. Don't trust words. Even doubt the actions. But you ain't never got to doubt a person's patterns. You tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. It's not judging them or condemning them. It's protecting you so that you can love the person who deserves your love. And one more reason why manipulators love empaths. I already know some of y'all ain't rocking with this one, but I got to keep it all the way G. It's because you're overly forgiving. Now, in context, forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. Releasing negative energy, negative experiences, that's forgiving, and that's for you. Forgiving in this context is, okay, you did me like this, that, and the other. I'm going to give you another chance. And a lot of times we do this irresponsibly because we're trying to virtue signal. We're trying to show that we're not willing to hold on to things. I'm not saying you hold on to anything of the past. What I'm saying is you pay attention to the signs that this is going to continue on into the future. In that context, there's no need to be forgiving to somebody who has not done the work to change their behavior. They've given you no signs. I'll tell you how you know. If a manipulator wrongs you, specifically a manipulator, what you'll get from that manipulator are a lot of emotional pleas, a lot of heightened emotional things. Maybe he proposes because you always wanted a ring. So that's a way to try and get your emotions to override, again, your common sense here and evoke that forgiveness in the form of another chance that he doesn't deserve. or a whole lot of words or, crying. Anything intense emotionally is a manipulator's way of trying to get you to absolve them of their responsibility to work on themselves, to correct the behavior, to acknowledge and take accountability, but instead let them just get another chance, get access to you again, because they ain't thinking about nobody but they self. That's what that immediate second chance gives. It gives them immediate soothing and confidence. You ain't going on to somebody else. A manipulator loves a woman that will do that. Now, let me tell you what happens whenever a man needs forgiveness, or a woman, by the way. I know some guys gonna listen to this, but somebody who needs forgiveness that's ready to do the work. They can acknowledge they screwed up. Hey, I screwed up. I messed up. And I'm willing to give you whatever time you need while I take the time I need to get myself together. They're patient. They don't make your healing, recovery, forgiveness process about them. See, there's a difference. But manipulators, they rely on you putting this high premium on forgive and forget. Forgive and forget. Yeah, forgive and forget, but don't let it happen again, despite your common sense that this person has not worked on themselves. Am I talking to anybody? Is this for anybody? Have you ever caught yourself forgiving too easily, too quickly? And then at a certain point, it felt like this person don't even got no regard for you. Their regard and respect for you and how they move just to continue to decrease the more chances that you gave them. More than likely, you're an empath, and that manipulator is leveraging the fact that you're an empath, that you're emotionally led. At times, you're emotionally irresponsible with yourself. You leave yourself unprotected. You got a password on your phone. You got a condom whenever you have sex with somebody for the first time, but then you leave your heart, your sanity, your well-being mentally wide open for somebody to crush. Shoot the messenger all you want to. But whenever you allow a manipulator to leverage your heart, your good intentions, the fact that you try to see the good in people instead of the truth of people, when you let them do that, you end up becoming a man's internship. You end up being the man, the woman that a man is going to step over or use as a training facility for the next woman. I don't know how many of y'all ever been in that situation, but you end up being the woman that's going to prepare him and equip him and love him through a really rough season of his life, or maybe a rough 5 to 10 years of his life where he's not developed or refined at all. You're going to end up crafting that version of that man so he can take it to somebody else. Another woman who said, nope, you come prepared or don't come at all. I'm just keeping it real with you. And I'm not going to go too far in depth with that because I went in on how to avoid being a man's internship in my free masterclass. Again, it was free. So if you missed it and you want to catch it before it comes down, click that link that you see pinned down here in the comments or the one that you see in the caption. That link, that's the new masterclass. Click that, get access to it before it comes down. Almost an hour. I went in on how to avoid being a man's internship, how to avoid when a man is looking for an internship with you instead of a relationship. And I go in on what an internship is for those of y'all who don't know. And if you don't know, you probably already had an experience, to be honest with you. But back to what I was saying, manipulators hate a woman that they cannot control. They can't stand it. And I advise you to be a woman that cannot be controlled. Can you be loved? Yes. Can you be submissive to the right man in the right season, the right situation? Absolutely. Can you respect and honor a man? Absolutely. None of that requires you to allow him to control you. Any man that wants to control you, any man that wants to punish you for having boundaries, for having standards, cannot protect you, cannot provide anything for you outside of something financial. And if he can't provide anything for you outside of the financial, he can't provide safety. He can't provide soft life. He can't provide peace of mind. He can't provide fulfillment in the relationship. He can't provide an ally towards your full potential. But those are just my thoughts. I'm your internet brother trying to look out. If you got anything of value from this conversation, I don't need your money. All I need you to do is pay it forward to somebody else on your timeline who also might be blessed by this message. Y'all see my kids is going crazy. So I got to get back out here and be a father. And if you're in the market for a man who's not going to make you his internship, let me make sure y'all get this information. Click the link that you see pinned down here in the comments. Also in the caption when you back out. How to avoid being a man's internship. For those of you who are not trying to build a man or prepare no man for the next woman. Click that link that you see pinned right here. For free, I go in on how to avoid being a man's internship so you can get the blessing you deserve. All right? Holla at y'all later. Y'all be good.